And he did it.
We'll see. Yeah, he did.
He did what you said.
No, he's gonna eat the headphones.
Oh, will he eat the cord?
Well, of course he will.
Mm.
Here, chew on this. No, leave that one. Oh, crack. Okay, 1 ear.
Sorry.
I know you're fine.
We'll make it work.
We'll make it work. It'll be fun. And then
yeah.
halfway, I'll take him out, and then I'll be like, okay, there. He's eating. I was gonna wear these earrings. It's attack the strawberry.
No,
attack the strawberry. All right, let's not get distracted. It's 3 questions. We can do this.
Yeah.
See, life. You have to babysit the bird.
Mm-hmm. It's not just kids, animals, people, everything. Yeah.
Well, honestly, I can't believe it's episode 9 already. It's pretty cool.
I know. Yeah.
We stuck with it. We keep going.
Yeah, we made it this far. How many months has it been?
We started in May. Didn't we drop the first one in May?
May, June, July, August. We're into September. So
4 months.
That's only 4 months.
No, I was looking at it and I'm like, 4 months.
It feels longer.
Me too. I was like, it feels like we've been doing this for a long, long time. Not because I'm bored, but it feels like it's been here. I think it's been in our heads.
I think because we talk so much that it feels that we always do this regardless.
We have been doing it, just not recording it before. Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah,
that's what it is. I'm like, I know we've talked about this stuff before.
Yeah.
So this is nice that we did this in this one, the frequently asked questions. So we'll tackle 3 questions that we're getting often.
Mm-hmm.
It'll make it easier. Clean this up, and then we can go on to the next episode later on, which will be, I believe, agents.
Yeah, because sometimes we get questions that don't warrant a full episode. So I think this is a good idea to once in a while just have an episode where we can cover these smaller topics and just like throw it all in there and instead of talking about it for 20 to 40 to 50 minutes.
Well, yeah, you can't talk about it to death.
Yeah.
For people that are watching the video, I'm going to mention this because I see a cat behind you.
I'm not looking at myself.
I see your cat going up the cat tree in the back.
Oh,
and
yeah,
I have Loki
there.
here on my shoulder. He's my little parrot. He's a Quaker parrot. He's actually my daughter's, and I'm babysitting while she's in school.
Does he spend more time with her?
At night when she comes home, she has some, and then during the day when I'm here I train him, but he's been squawking, so he's on my shoulder now to see if he's quiet.
I think he just wanted to join.
I think so. So if you hear a squawk and then all of a sudden we stop, it's because I have to move him.
Right now he is chewing on
an earring. I took these out and I was like, okay, here, chew on this.
He's enjoying it. He's having a great time.
Should be good for 10 minutes. Let's see.
Yeah. So I guess, so Olga, what are you doing? Like, what are you working on recently that you can discuss openly?
That I can discuss. I think I'm okay to say that all my sketches have been approved and I'm ready to go to finals on my book. So now that I have the time that I have left, which is a few months, I have to be very strict with my schedule as to, you don't want to doodle away in one illustration when you have, 30 others that you have to do. So I give myself deadlines per page.
Yeah.
And we'll see if I can stick with it. I'm already behind on the first one because I'm waiting on some feedback from my art director, but, no.
Oops.
He took my earpiece. Okay. But I should be able to catch up because
I like what you did too. Do you have them next to you, or you can just say how you wrote your deadline on the art page? I think that was a really good idea because I struggle with that.
I print out, I can't show any of it, but I print out the entire book, even end papers, everything. And on each one, I put my deadlines.
Your sketches, you print out
on my sketches, right?
Yeah.
So that, for example, this needs to be, then by November 25th, I should be by that page.
Yeah.
To keep on schedule. And I gave myself some buffers in case I have to redo something.
That's a great idea.
I give myself about maybe 4 days per page. Some will take 6, some might take 3. So that gives me a little bit of wiggle room in between.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's my main thing right now. My entire focus is on the book because we are right there at the end. there's other little things on the side, some portfolio critiques or some licensing stuff that I might start, but that's all, in there with everything
And
else.
you just did a live draw too on Instagram.
Oh yeah, that was fun.
That was cool.
I've never done anything live, and it was pretty cool. I thought I
Yeah.
would be more nervous, but I guess this has been good practice to just
I
come
think-
up to your shell.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So what are you doing? I know you have a lot going on too.
Yeah. I was working on a book, illustrating a picture book for an author, and I started that in May, and we've gone through many iterations of it. But the story keeps getting better and better. So I really like the direction it's going. But I'm used to working with people that are super deadline oriented, like they're in a hurry to get the book done because of this, like a holiday or a Kickstarter, or they want to have it out by this specific time. But this author doesn't have that, and so I actually kind of really like that. She's very open to take as long as you want. I want it to be the best book possible. And so it's a very different working atmosphere, and it's more laid back, and I think we're getting a better product from it, which I kind of like. And I think in traditional, that's kind of what you still have a deadline.
Yeah, this deadline's
but you had a whole year pretty much to work.
They give
on
you
that
enough
book.
time to explore different options, and that's, like you said there, the story gets better, and it really does.
Yeah. And I feel like because we've tried many different versions and we've explored different different storyboards, that it's definitely gotten better. But because it was kind of slow, I took on a couple other projects, like I'm illustrating my first middle grade cover, which I'm excited about because I can't talk about it. The author wants to wait until it's finished. They don't want any, but it's been really fun. And I wanted to get into that, but it's also kind of a field area that I'm not super confident with covers. So I've been working on that a lot. And so that's been fun. And I've also taken on some book formatting projects. But so that's
a lot of things going on.
Yeah. And then kids started school.
Oh,
and we had a car breakdown.
Our AC unit had to be replaced. Dishwasher went out. I don't know what's happening in my house. Everything is breaking.
It always happens. It's never one.
Yeah, I know. When you say that it happens in threes, I'm like, no.
Sorry.
No more.
Right now, I think it's twos, because we had one car break and then the other one broke for good. So yeah, I think it's twos right now. Let's stick with twos.
Knock on wood.
I know.
Right. Maybe we should get into it now?
Yeah. So for this, we were going to answer 3 questions that we've had a few people ask us. And like we said, we don't think they're really big enough to cover in one full episode. So I think this is a good way to touch base with each one and try to answer it. We recommend joining SCPWI a lot. And I feel not bad, but of course people are going to ask after they take our advice, what do you do?
Not because we are pushing it, oh, you must do it, but it is one of the main forces in this industry. And if you really want to get there and get it, all this advice we're giving you and make the right connections, you kind of have to join it. So that's the main question that we're getting. After you join, what do you do? What do you do?
Yeah. And I know people, and it makes me sad because I know people who have joined, and I don't know if they were in a bad region, because SCBWI is broken up into regions. But I have heard people say they joined and then they quit after a year because they didn't find any value in it. But I kind of think that they might not have known where to look. If they don't know the steps to follow after joining, then they might not get value from it.
It's kind of like when we got that I told you that I was a member for a while, and all I would get is the emails, and I would just okay, that's later. Someday I'll just read it. It's not a newsletter. it's actually an organization that you have to go in and do things. It takes action for you to be able to extract
Mhm.
the value of it. So let's break it down. Once you join,
Yeah.
the first thing you should do is set up your gallery in the
Your
website.
your profile, yeah. And then your
Fill it out.
gallery.
You'll
Yeah.
need a bio. You'll need if you have 3 images, put 3 images. If you have 10, put 10. Doesn't matter, even if it's not your best work right now, just set something up
Mhm.
so you can get started.
Yeah, because it can be changed later. It's not permanent.
Yeah, I mean, and
It's not the easiest thing to
it's
change.
not, yeah, it's not the best interface. I do
we'll
have
be
to
truthful
say.
about that.
Yes. So there's this way of setting up which is your illustration that's going to show first. And instead of just, I love the drag and drops. They don't have that. You have to put a value number like 0 if you want it to be on the very top, and then 1. And then later on you change your mind and you're like, well, 0, 0 or 0, 1. It's just, it doesn't make sense to me, but you'll mess around with it and you'll figure out what order you have it in.
It's clunky. It's a clunky navigation system. But yeah, so you set up your profile, set up your art gallery, and then find your region. If you set up your profile, then it will list the region you're in under your profile.
And every region has their own
page,
and their own events that are going on. So, but like you mentioned before, sometimes you might end up in a region that is not too active. You don't have to stay there. You can go ahead and attend events that are, made in another region. It's still the same price. And now that everything's online, you can just, it's virtual. But for the actual in-person events, you can also go. If you're willing to travel, you can go to other conferences.
Yeah, because I've gone to the Maryland, Virginia events, and I've gone to the DC events, and that's a different region.
Yeah, and I think one of my first workshops, I met someone from Texas that they just decided to come to this workshop in Maryland.
Wow.
So if you can, travel, go ahead and take advantage of that.
Well, and every region has their own Facebook page.
Yes, that's something else too. So you'll belong to that, and you'll get the local news and local events there. A lot of them help you promote your work. Be active in it. Just see whether it's not a thing that you just read and read. Sometimes post. If you have a question, post it in there. If you have something you want to share, your work, put it in there. I think that the one that I've seen them more in Facebook. I'm not really. I don't even think I follow the Instagram one and Twitter, but I know the Facebook one that is pretty active, at least in our region.
Oh yeah, they are, and so yeah, the regional pages on Twitter and Instagram are not always well maintained, or but I do think you should follow SCBWI on Twitter because they're very active on Twitter. The organization
as a whole, right?
And they'll post announcements there and have like Twitter socials sometimes. So it's good for you to be on Twitter so you can interact with other people who are in SCBWI in the organization.
So the benefit of being part of the SCBWI is that when someone sees that, they know, okay, this person is immersed in this industry. They know the standards. They know what's expected of the the professional side of illustrating. So it helps you out in knowing that. I remember that this is back when I was working with self-publishing. One of the questions I was asked if I was a member by the client.
Oh,
yeah. So I was like, yeah, but I didn't even. Back then I didn't know of how large of an organization it was. But
yeah, I think it shows professional development. Like it shows that you are interested in developing your craft to a high, to another level.
Yeah. And the business side of it too. So it's not just that you like drawing and you decided, I'm going to do this. Like you actually know, or you have read about it because there's articles. So we should tell them actually what else is in there. There, the blue,
Oh, I didn't list that. Oh, the book.
blue, no, the
Oh,
blue groups. I think, what is it?
The
Blue
bulletin,
groups?
the blue board.
Blue
Is it
board,
blue
that's
board?
what it's called.
Maybe we
Yes.
should have looked before.
We should have looked that up. So the blue boards are pretty much any question you have is in there. So how to set up a dummy, how to do a portfolio, how anything you can think of, all the stuff that we're discussing is there. And you'll get
It
several.
is a bulletin board. Yeah. You
Yeah,
can
so you'll
post
get
questions.
several answers from different artists, different people, different members. So that gives you a lot of feedback when you need something.
Yeah, I tried to Google it and I can't.
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
my phone.
So they keep changing the interface on it, so finding
yeah.
links are not as easy as it once you get used to where they're at, and then they change them. It's like at the grocery store when you go and they change everything up. I'm like, oh no. Now I have to learn the store all over again.
Yeah.
And we have they recently changed guard, so I've noticed that they are,
well, our region.
well, no, as a whole, the CBWI, I've
Oh.
noticed that like the page where all the contests and awards were has changed dramatically, and they have a lot more scholarships. They are younging it up. Is that, like making it more current and trendy and a little bit
yeah, their focus is
refreshed.
a little, I noticed they've tried to update their look, and they do have more awards and scholarships.
Yeah.
They're also trying to focus on more on diversity, but they're also trying to focus more on self-publishing, because that's also been an issue in the past. There's just not a lot, and so that's why I always, when I recommend it to self-publishers, I always say with a caveat, yes, this is a great place to join to learn your craft, because they have a lot of really good webinars on craft and how to improve and how to do books. And it's a good place to network with other authors and illustrators. So cute. But they don't, they probably won't discuss book sales typically.
Right.
They do talk about marketing. There are marketing webinars and social media, things like that. But I don't see a lot of webinars on like Amazon ads.
Because that's more what you would, but now that they are adding self-publishing as a section, so I think they will start doing more of that.
Yeah.
It has improved more, for sure. It's a little more welcoming for every field.
Yeah.
So there is a section on the website that says awards and contest, or grants and contests, I think it's called now. Awards, grants, and contests.
Yeah.
And in there, if you're an illustrator and if you're a writer as well, go in there and you will find contests that are available every month. One that we used to participate in a lot was Draw This. It's a monthly prompt that they give you. Look at there's big ones, the Bologna, there's one, it's called Bologna.
I'm trying to pull it up right
or something.
now.
I should have had the website in front of me.
I'm pulling it up.
Okay.
So yeah.
So that one is once a year. They do have deadlines when you submit the work. So, go in there, look at all the submission guidelines and participate. And then go into Twitter and promote that you have done this.
Yes. Sorry, it's taking me to my own page. I don't know how to. So this is one of the challenges, trying to navigate the website.
The website is a little tricky to maneuver.
Oh, here it is, awards and grants.
See, I like how it has it now broken down.
Oh yeah, so fantasy grant, Writer's Digest Manuscript Award, BIPOC Scholarship, Emerging Voices Award, need-based scholarship. So there's a lot of awards and grants here. I'm not sure which one you were talking about. Velamos.
Yeah, so the very top is for
Velamos,
and then go to the bottom and it says illustrators.
Oh, I see. I see. Yeah, so it's broken up into so SCPWI, we should reiterate, is for authors and illustrators. It's a society of children book writers and illustrators. So there's the Bologna Illustrator Gallery. Oh, I didn't know about this one.
Welcome to SCPWI. Let me show
These are the things you need to do, which
Mhm.
I didn't even know you had to do.
Turn
Given biannually
around.
to an illustrator of promise. The winner is announced at the New York conference, and the winning art is displayed prominently at the SCPWI Bologna Book Fair. I may be saying that wrong.
I don't know. I say Bologna.
Oh, that's better. No, that's how you should say it. Don't say it like me. Oh, there's a lot for illustrators. Wow. Yeah.
Yes, a lot more than I had seen in the past. So that got me excited. I'm like, yes.
Yes. Oh, and they also offer the Spark Award, which is an annual award that recognizes excellence in children's book publishing through non-traditional publishing routes. So that's
new.
a new thing. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there is a lot under awards and grants. There is also, let's see what else we have.
There's
here.
a lot of resources in there. For example, if you're wondering,
The
is
book.
this a legitimate? Yeah, is this a legitimate agency? Is this a vanity press? Some, anything. So there's the book, like you mentioned. The book
Mhm.
is this gigantic book that has
Yeah.
every publisher listed, every agent. It tells you their submissions letter, their address, where to send your postcards if you're sending this.
The part that is for illustrators is much smaller
Mhm.
than for authors, but
Yeah.
it's still a great resource. It's a wonderful resource.
And then there's a magazine that has really good articles. It comes out, I don't know if it's quarterly, maybe. Yeah. And you can submit artwork to be in that magazine.
Mhm.
So just submit and you might get it in there too. So plenty of things to do.
Yeah.
But actually, I'll repeat this. It takes action. You have to take advantage of it and actually use it. It's not going to benefit you if it's just an email that goes to your mailbox and then you just delete it. It's not.
Yeah.
And I used to do that. So don't do that. Don't do what I used to do. All right. So do you think we need to cover anything else in that one?
I think that's plenty. For because some people always ask me, yes, there is an annual membership fee, and often you do have to pay for webinars, but if you're a member, it's cheaper for the webinar or conference payments. But there are many free resources.
There's
offer
a lot of free
of
ones
free webinars.
There's some digital webinars too. I think it's the digital archives that you find. No, the digital workshop. That those are free. You just have to sign up for it, but they're free and they're really good. Like some are like how to write a funny picture book or how to draw, with emotion.
Yeah, and every region has their own. I think because ours is is under our region. The ones that come from our.
Is it? Oh, I'm not really sure.
They have SCBWI has their own, but we also have our own free digital downloads.
So those are really good. I think the membership, I think it was 85. Don't quote me on this. It might change. I have no idea, but it's around 80 a year, which is not a huge at least for what it has done for our careers is not. I'm happily paying that. I believe if you do like an autumn renewal, it might be cheaper, or if you have a member for a few years, I have no idea, but worth checking it out. But if you do decide, actually use it. If you're not using it, then stop paying the membership. There's no reason to just throw money away.
Yeah.
But if you use it, I think you'll find it.
Yeah. We also found our critique groups through there.
Yes. Yeah.
That's another thing I didn't think about.
At least everything I have done has been through that. And it has proven to be very useful. So let's move on to question number 2.
Yes.
How to go from traditional to digital.
Yeah.
That's like that. Well,
a
lot more people are going to need to do this because I love traditional. I really do. But I see it like if you have to work digital at some point.
Yeah. So what are I'm not saying everyone has to be digital, but I hear this question a lot. No, it's not. I've had it only asked me a few times, but I see it asked frequently in Facebook groups and online. But I think that even if you work traditional, you still need to have some idea of how to process your work into a digital format. So if you are painting, you still need to know how to scan your work and touch it up in Photoshop. Otherwise, you're going to pay lots of money to have someone else do those things for you. And
right. And the places where you can do it easier are limited, at least where I am at.
yeah,
My closest store, grocery store, is 25 minutes away.
yeah.
For me to find a place where they will actually scan something that is larger, I used to have to go to Virginia, to another state, to go find one place that had it. And they had the scanners that were rollers. So if I worked on illustration board, I had to peel the top layer and take away the board. And so that's a lot of moving around your artwork and risking that something's gonna happen in the scanning process. And so I would always take a picture, so at least I have something that I can work
Yeah.
off if I need to
Well,
redo it again.
yeah, and sometimes a photograph is a better option, but then you have to worry about lighting and glare,
Mhm.
and then with a scan, you have to worry about color correction. It depending on who scanned it, the colors may not come out
Yeah. Unless you
correctly.
work small, then it's not a big deal. You can just get a
Mhm.
small scanner and do it yourself, or
Yeah,
just go to Staples or something and get it done. But when you work in a large format, it's a little bit harder to find places that will do it.
yeah. So
So
a lot of artists, illustrators are wanting to go digital. That's
yeah.
because
So
it's easier.
that was one of the biggest push for me to go digital. It was the cost of paper. It was the process of working it and working digitally, then scanning it, then having to tweak it digitally anyway.
Mhm.
So for me, it made sense. So how do you do it? How do you go from traditional to digital? Um, Before we discuss that, let's discuss that it's a big difference working on an iPad or a Cintiq that you're actually drawing on the glass versus drawing on I'm going to mispronounce it, so it's a Wacom tablet
I hear it
that
differently.
you are
A
drawing.
tablet.
Yeah, so your eyes are on the computer looking forward and your hand is drawing at the table.
Mm.
It takes a little bit of practice, but somehow you just figure it out. Your hand and your eye coordination just work.
Yeah.
So everything is going to take some time. So there is a big difference. Now, I used to work on the Wacom tablet and on Photoshop, and then I moved to the iPad. And now it's a little harder for me to go the other way. Like when I have to work on Photoshop, I am like, because I need to use my tablet,
Yeah.
and my eyes haven't gotten, they gotten a little bit worse. So I have to be looking.
Yeah.
It's not the same. It's not the same that I can just
Can't
pinch
pinch
out
and zoom.
and
Yeah.
see it really big. I can't do that anymore. I did put money into a Cintiq that I bought from a friend, but it never worked for me. And I think it might be that my computer's too old or something. I have to wait for someone a little more techie to come here and figure out why when I'm working on the Cintiq, it switches back to the computer screen and I have to keep having to pull it. So I don't know exactly how that works. So I'm not using it. And
And
I'm very happy
Cintiqs
with
are
my app.
expensive.
It was very
They're
expensive.
they're a big investment.
I bought it used from a friend. It's sitting in the box. I haven't been able to actually use it successfully. And it's not the one I wanted. See, that's something else too. If you're going to invest on something, make sure you wait until you can afford the one you want. The
Yeah.
one I wanted was a touch Cintiq because it will be just like the iPad. But I didn't. I got that one because it was available at that moment, and it's not really the one that I want. So I still
Oh,
cannot pinch and zoom. I still need to use the
you have to use
clicking.
hotkeys. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
not a
yeah.
fan. So I'll get to the one I want when I want to, and then that I'll probably use Photoshop a little bit more often than I do now. But so discussing that difference, now how do you go from traditional to any digital? I say first start with simple shapes so that you get used to what it feels like to draw on glass, or because
Yeah.
it's very different from drawing on paper. Just the mechanicals of it is already different. The pencil is slick, it's kind of slippery. I put on my iPad, I put a paper. It's called Paper-like. I actually changed it
Yeah.
just yesterday, so I have it here.
Yeah, it's called Paperlike. And there are other, that's
Paperlike
the
film.
brand name, but there are other brands. There's a lot.
I'm holding it on camera. This is just the one I use now. I like it. I like
And
it because
it's clear and it's a textured kind of sticker, right? It's like a sticker.
it is. In fact, I have my iPad, then I have a screen protector, and then on top of the screen protector, I put that film.
Oh, wow.
So, and
No,
there's
you had
no
all of that.
issues. Oh yeah, and there's no issues with
Mine
how
is naked.
yours. I can't. I tried, but it's like if I'm going like this on glass, and I feel there's no grip, and it feels too
Yeah.
different from paper to me. So I'm still a little bit attached to the traditional
No,
side. I
no,
need to
yeah,
feel.
yeah. No, and I like the texture of those. But what bothered me is that I don't like the delayed response in the tip of the pencil, the Apple Pencil with your drawing. I don't like that. Even just that
Yeah.
millimeter of space, it drove me crazy.
Really,
And then
it doesn't bother me one bit at all. And I'm telling you how many
and
layers
the
I have in
color,
my.
it changes the way that you see the color on the screen a
That
little
might,
bit.
yes, a little bit, but I don't think it's so bad that it will
Yeah.
completely ruin the experience for you.
Yeah.
I like that
Yeah.
sound. It's just like a pencil on paper.
Mhm.
The drawback is it does eat up at my tip. I'm
Your
holding my
nib.
pencil here,
Yeah.
the little nib, but it's $20 for a bunch of them a year. I probably have to change once a year because
Yeah.
you can start seeing the metal. But I draw a ton, like hours and hours and hours every day. So I know I'm giving it more than I even have to change that paper film several times a year because I eat up at the middle part of it, especially.
Oh, it wears out. Yeah.
Yeah. And another thing that's going to help you go, to me at least, from traditional to digital is to add a grippy onto your
Yes.
pencil.
Yes. Oh, wait, let me get mine.
Yeah, it's these pencils, the Apple Pencil and the digital pencils. Well, actually, no, because my Wacom is nice and chunky and it feels good on the hand.
Oh, 1 second.
Yeah, you're falling apart over there.
I am. I rolled over and then my chair got stuck. 1 second.
So Sunny fell off the chair. I'm kidding.
No. But I got this.
Yeah,
I do like the pencil grip better, but I like this because the magnet still works through this and I don't have to adjust it.
And you told me about that one and it didn't work on mine because
and we have a different, we have different covers too.
Okay, so if you're on video, you might want to look at what we're holding. So my iPad has this cover, which I absolutely love because I can put my pencil here. I added these pockets for my gloves, and my pencil has to fit in there. And when I have that grippy thing that you showed me, I can't, so I have to take it off and it kept ripping.
Yeah.
So I found this solution. It's one of those pencil.
Yeah, just a pencil grip.
But I cut it right here. Let's see how pretty it is. It's all chewed up.
So do you just take it out when you charge?
Yeah, so I can take it out and put it in easy. But then I go a step further. I make a big hole here because I have a hotkey that I can just double tap. And if I double tap,
yeah, I never use
the copy and paste. It saves me so much time instead of having to go and do this. So I just double tap as I'm working. I love digital because it's so much faster than traditional. But all right, so the question was,
what are we talking about?
I know. The question was, how do you make that jump? So you can start either drawing directly on the thing or scan your drawings. If you're because you're afraid to start and you're so sure that you can draw and you feel comfortable with your drawing, so scan it in, take a picture of it or scan in and start with that.
Yeah, that's how I started. I always drew my sketches by pencil initially because I felt more comfortable.
And you can go even further. If you do watercolor, start a simple watercolor, do your first washes or something, and then scan that in. Then it doesn't feel like you're starting from scratch because it's hard because the light's coming from behind your drawing and behind the paint. As opposed to in a traditional that the light is coming and sitting on top of the surface of the paint. So it is tricky. You'll see the colors and everything is super bright and you tend to go oversaturate your colors. So you have to remember the light is coming from behind and you want to,
Tone it
your
down.
your colors a little bit so it doesn't go crazy on you. But there's really no way of getting better at it until you start.
Mhm.
So make a lot of really, really bad drawings at first, and it'll get easier to switch.
Yeah.
One of the main things I will say is learn the tools, but just learn the tools that you normally use when you work traditionally.
Yes. Don't go
There's
crazy with brushes. You don't need that. Brushes are not what make you good at it.
no, you can do everything you do with just whatever comes already in the program that you're using. But there's a lot of tools that even the most experienced artists don't use because they just don't need it. So don't worry about maskings and resizing tools or anything fancy right now. If you're just starting, just draw. So
Mhm.
use your pencil or your paints and your eraser, just nothing fancy right now. And learn to use those very well before you move on to trying to cut sections, opening them up, moving them, or changing the shape of something. That comes later. And even if you never use those tools, you can totally do this digitally. Those tools are just to make things a little bit easier.
Yeah. And I always push learning layers, but you don't have to. Like you usually very often just draw on one layer.
Yeah, at the beginning, because that's something else about switching from traditional to digital, and keep it simple. That's the thing you have to remember. Keep it simple. When you're working traditionally, you're working on one piece of paper. So go ahead and change that and bring that into your digital canvas. Don't worry about it at the beginning about the attributes of the layers, because there's some layers that can be transparent and other ones they can change your colors and make it all awesome, okay? You don't need any of that. You can actually do an illustration on one layer and just keep going and keep going and keep going. When you master that, then you can mess around with, I'm going to add another layer and do an effect on that layer. This is the way I learned it. So if there's a better way out there, then please drop us a line and let us know.
Yeah. Well, layers do make the process easier once you learn how to use them. It's nice to be able to have and I've always worked like this. My main characters are usually on one layer, and then my background is on a different layer, a layer behind it. And if you look at layers, it's like they're stacked on top of each other. And then usually I have my highlights and shadows on a separate layer. So if I ever want to move my characters around or the scene, then I can just move them. I don't have to like redraw them like you would on a regular piece of art.
And that's how we do now. But when we're starting,
but in the beginning, you don't need to worry about that stuff,
because it's to me it was overwhelming, the layers and what do they do, and they're not in the right order. And just I started simple, just one layer. And the nice thing about it is I got used to it, so I don't end up with 27 layers in my drawing.
And I see that a lot too. Especially now that I do working with some book formatting, and some illustrators have every single piece of the illustration on a separate layer. And some people complain that the iPad, when you use Procreate, the larger you make your canvas, the less layers you get. Right. I'm like, well, honestly, you really shouldn't need more than at the most 5 or 6 layers. You can, you don't need to have 240 layers, maybe 300. That's not necessary.
Even some people would like each character to have their own layer. So
I'm talking about each, like one eyeball.
Oh, no.
You don't, you shouldn't be working that way.
You're really complicating life.
Yes. That's
when this is what I do. When I already like something, I commit. And I'll just go ahead and pinch my layers. I do start on another layer, draw it out, figure it out, add whatever it is. If I like it, commit. I keep doing that until it's something that I can't flatten. If I'm doing a highlight or if I'm doing a shadow, that I want to keep those separate in case I want to switch them later. But for the main drawing, once I'm done, I'm done. I know if I need to go back and change it, that's not a big deal. I'll just go ahead and draw it over, change it. But we have the bird walking all over the place now. I'm running out of toys to give him.
I'll give him
a little
Oh,
My
he's gonna
cube.
fidget. Oh, oh no, he doesn't like it.
No, he doesn't like it. It's green like him.
Oh,
Here, try this.
maybe it's the texture of it.
He'll come out and he'll start attacking whatever it is I have in there. He's so cute. Learn how to manage the colors.
That's I don't, since I've always worked digitally, I went the opposite direction. I had to go from working flat digitally in Adobe Illustrator to trying to work painterly in Photoshop and then Procreate. But you went from painting traditionally to working digitally in a painterly style. So I don't really have the I'm used to working on with lighting and the bright colors on a computer. But so I don't really know how to I don't really not understand, but I don't know, why do colors get so saturated when people start working digitally from traditional?
What I said before is the light is coming from behind and it tricks you, into they show brighter than they are if I were to put acrylics or watercolors on a piece of paper. It's almost like it's like if you're working on a light table.
Yeah.
So you're painting on top of a light table, it's going to affect the way you see the colors. But if I take that same painting and put it on a desk, it's all going to look different.
True. But you're mixing colors the same way you would mix them with paint, right?
I do. I don't go and pick
I think
one
you should.
color.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't go to the picker and pick one color. I like to have different ones. So what I do is a layer of a green, and then I go a little bit, more yellow, a little bit more, saturated. I like the variety in them. And then when I'm happy, I squish them all together.
You merge
them all together. I squish them all together into one layer and they're done.
Yeah.
One thing to watch out for is black and digital.
Yeah.
If it tends to look like a hole if you go pure black.
I never thought of that.
Yeah, so like it goes in there. Where in traditional, you can, you use your black and it's still going, since it's going to pick up the light from the outside, from the top, it just looks different. It's still, and remember, paint has a texture in it. So it's never going to look completely flat. Even if you use gouache, it's always going to have the stroke of the brush, the little hairs leave you valleys. And so it's just tricky with black and digital. So just say, don't use pure black. Go ahead and bring it up a bit.
Add some color to it.
Yeah. Let me see. So another thing that I would say to help someone go from traditional to digital is to use the same mediums that you use traditional. At least
the same brushes.
Yeah. If you like to work with color pencils or with charcoals or watercolors, use the brushes that mimic those. It'll feel better to you. And this is my advice: stay away from the airbrush. The airbrush becomes very feathery and flat, and it looks digital. It takes some practice to work with it, and so it doesn't look so slick and digital. Unless you work with a traditional airbrush and that's your look and that's what you're trying to mimic, most of the time in traditional illustration, you're not really using an airbrush. You're using different mediums. So it's really tricky, and it can go bad quickly. So I would say, going from traditional to digital, the two main things I would advise to do is don't make your shadows black. Don't use black in your shadows, and don't use the airbrush. Those are the two things I would say is the quick downfall of someone going from traditional to digital.
Yeah. So, and I think, later we could do a video on how to use Procreate, but right now
that would be good.
Talking about it.
Yeah, that would be good. I do a how-to video Procreate, but it would just have to be a video, not a podcast.
Yeah.
So we'll work on that.
Yeah. So the last question I hear a lot is, how do you manage your time between family and art and like an art career, especially since we're working at home?
Mhm.
And not everyone is in our situation, but Olga and I, like, because we started later, we both have children, husbands, a family, pets.
Parents.
Yeah, yeah, visiting family. Some people that come live with us for a little while. Yeah, and there is no cut or dry answer to this. It's just how and it might be different for other people. Not everyone may work the same way. It might not work the same way for everyone, but we
And
can share what worked for us.
yeah, one advice that at least something to hang on to is bad moments don't stay bad forever.
Ooh, that's
uh
good.
yeah, it's just it's life. Life goes up and down, and you will have times where everything is just going perfectly swell, and other times where it's a little more difficult, and the kids are sick, or there's some emergency that you might have, or parents that are getting elderly that you have to take care of, or you say visiting family that takes your attention. It's life.
Mhm.
And then add to that grocery shopping, and you have to cook, and you have to clean, and the pets, and the vet, and the doctor's appointments, and your husband can find something that is right in front of him, or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And it's life. And I'm not trying to say that, oh, we're talking mainly to women, because this is everyone is busy, everyone has everything. So how do you put it all together and still get this done?
Yeah. Oh, and some people have jobs. Like some
Yes,
people
some
have
people have
full-time jobs and they're
on
trying
top
to,
of it.
yeah, and they're trying to
Yes.
move into this. So many people have other things that are taking their time and concentration away from doing art.
Mhm.
And so everyone has challenges that they have to deal with.
So keep in mind, I tell this to myself all the times when things are going a little bit wrong or crazy or something. I'm like, well, the good moments don't last forever, and the bad moments don't last forever. So enjoy the good moments when they're happening, and don't worry so much. And this is easy to say and not to do when things don't go wrong, because that's also going to pass, right? This too shall pass is what I keep saying to myself. This too shall pass. So how do we do it though? That's all fantastic, but it's so abstract. How do we do it physically every day?
Mhm.
So I would say, if this is going to succeed, if you want it bad enough, you have to want it bad enough that you're willing to do what it takes to get there. Okay, like I said, it takes action. You can dream about it for all you want. Until you actually take action, it's not going to happen. So you work when you can, like you squeeze it in between everything.
We have a good example right now.
We
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 are
do. I have
recording.
yeah.
Olga had 3 hours this morning, which would fit into my schedule. And then that's when we're recording. It's not, we do it when we can, but it has to
Well,
be, yeah.
yeah. So we work on the outline and gathering all our thoughts and everything one night a few days ago, and
Mhm.
then it's like I have literally 3 hours between this doctor's appointment and dropping off the kids, and
Yeah.
dinner's in the crock pot, and I have laundry going right now, and the bird is here squawking, but we took him outside now. So we'll make the best we can in those 3 hours that we can.
Yeah.
um I remember taking, this is an example. I had to drive my kids to the county fair. This is pre-pandemic, and they're at that age that they want to be alone. Like, they're older now. This is pre-pandemic, but I wasn't ready for them to be alone in the fair. So I told them, I go, I'll drive you, and I'll sit outside. Like, I sat in the car for a few hours. So I have 2 hours, because it is easier than driving home, because I live far away from everything. It's
Yeah.
easier than driving home and then just driving right back. So what did I do? I sat there and I caught up on emails. And then this idea came to me for a book. and I didn't have anything there except a napkin and a pen. And I got the main idea for this book and the main character written out in a napkin. That at that moment, I couldn't do anything with it then. So I, wrote on my book, oh my gosh. Okay. So
On your
Sunny taught
phone?
me how to use Google Drive. Amazing, amazing. Because I used to actually write myself an email before
Oh,
with, yeah, that's been, if I didn't have anything, I would write this email to myself with the story and like, don't forget this and do this.
yeah.
So you taught me how to use Google Drive. Amazing, amazing. Because I can just
Create a
leave,
document and write it out.
yeah,
Yeah.
leave a thought halfway and pick it up when I can again.
Hmm.
So don't get frustrated when you cannot finish an entire thought, when you cannot finish an entire piece of artwork. It's okay to have to step away and come back. A lot of the times when you come back, you might have had other ideas that will make that piece better,
Yes, definitely.
right?
Yeah.
Then
You come back with fresh eyes.
you do, you do. So don't see it as, oh, I cannot get anything done because I can't put 3 hours straight into something. Sometimes it's a
Yeah.
blessing. So
Yeah. Yeah.
go with
And
it.
sometimes you can, sometimes you have 30 minutes. Sometimes you have an hour. Sometimes you do have large blocks of time, but that is rare for it.
Sometimes you have a lot of time, but you just don't feel like doing it.
Yeah.
Like you are exhausted. You're done. You're done for the day. Um, then don't.
Mhm.
Then those days don't, because you can. I've sat here and I'm like doodling away, and it's
You
not
won't be
happening.
productive.
Right.
Yeah.
So then use that time to rest. You're
Mhm.
like, oh, I obviously have nothing left to give this moment. Go take a shower. Go, um, just go take a nap. Um, I know we spend a lot of time on social media, and if you look back at to how much time you actually spend looking at videos or doing other things, and that might be your entertainment, you have time. You have time that is just sprinkled throughout the day. So manage it better, and you'll be able to find some time. What was that?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Um, Plan ahead as much as you can. Like when we
Yeah.
do, we're not doing one thing. Laundry's going on right now. You put stuff in the crock pot all the time.
Yeah. I
Um,
try to block appointments on same days. I try to plan my grocery shopping for one day so I
yeah.
can leave other times available to work on art.
Now that the kids went back to school physically, and let's hope that it stays like that for you
Yeah.
know safely, as good as it can be done. Um, at the first thing I do is vacuum, because my dogs, Sophie, she's a big German Shepherd, a lab mix. Oh, she drops so much hair that I have to vacuum daily. Um, because if not, you're walking and there's like this huge cloud of hair floating by, and it's like it looks like I've never cleaned. It's just daily. So the first thing I do is super quick vacuuming, and this like it's part of my coffee and vacuuming morning. I have to do that so that I know that I feel like I've done something in the house and
Mhm.
it doesn't look. So learn to be a little more compassionate with yourself. Your
Yeah.
house is not going to be spotless.
Yeah.
Um, your house is not going to be spotless. Just start with that.
Yeah. I had to change my expectations have never been
Yes.
super high, but I still had to tell myself, okay, what are the minimum things I need to do daily or weekly to where we are not miserable? Because
Right.
I can't work. I also can't, it's hard to work in a place that is not clean. It's hard to work
It's, yeah.
when because those things are distracting you because you're in your home working. So if you have if there's dishes in the sink,
There's dishes in the sink right now.
that's good.
I'm gonna be completely honest. One of the things that we see, I'm not dishing on Martha Stewart, but it started with these expectations, like you say, like what you see on TV, what you see on podcasts. I mean, you're looking at this section here, but heck, look over there. You see that? There's a table with laundry that I was folding. Um, this is what you're seeing because that's what I'm showing you. So a lot of people online like to show the best of.
Yeah.
Don't let those be your expectations. That's not real life.
Yeah.
Real life is
It's
a little
created
messy, and so be it.
unrealistic expectations is what it's.
When I first moved here to this house, which is a beautiful, lovely house, um, I didn't work. This was before I started doing this. I would clean every corner in this house. And if the paint was chipping in a wall, I would go ahead and do that. And the trim was looking a little dingy, I would go ahead and paint the trim. And then I would have this fantastic meal ready for my family because I was just doing this at home, and I could devote all that time, and I loved it. But and my kids loved it, everybody loved it, but nobody expected that.
Mhm.
And when I started doing this, guess what? Nothing has fallen apart. The house is still standing. Now I don't paint every time I see a chip on the wall. I probably will do that, and like once a year we'll be like, okay, we need to kind of fix this. The house is still standing. My kids are still well fed. My husband's still happy, well fed. Everybody's still healthy. You put these expectations on you. I must handle it all. No, you'll handle what you can and what you want at that moment. I like when you said that you bundle up appointments.
Yeah.
Because like I said, I at least I live very, very far away from everything. So when I go to drop off the dog to the groomers, I'll do the grocery run,
Mhm.
I'll go to the mill, I do everything because everything is in town and I'm not there. So
Yeah.
I cannot do this every day, go to the mailbox or go to the post office, or if I need milk, go to the if I need milk, it is a 50-hour drive because it's 25
50
minutes
hour?
to 50 minute, cut that.
Like,
It's like
wow. No, it's
a 50-minute
yeah,
drive because
it's
it's
like an hour,
25
yeah.
minutes to get to the store and
Mhm.
then 25 minutes back. And then the time that I put to go buy milk. So
Yeah.
it's not something I do. So I freeze the milk.
Yeah.
I take shortcuts
Which
when I
reminds
can.
me, we're out of milk today. I have to go get milk.
When I lived in
But
the old house, I was 6 minutes away from the grocery store. I could
yeah.
get milk. Now I have to freeze it. So
Well,
it's okay.
and I'm not close now, but I still try to look at it. It doesn't take me as long to get to the store, but once I'm at the store, that is an hour of time gone for me. I look at errands and the places I'm going as blocks of time, and I try to combine them into chunks so that I have a bigger chunk to work in the morning. My best working time for me is usually right after I get the kids off to school from 8 o'clock till around noon. And I noticed even if I try to fit in some time after noon, I don't focus as well. I'm not as productive. So I have about 4 hours in the morning where I'm like good. So if I'm going to go run errands, I try to push them off till closer to noon. And when it's also closer to when I'm going to pick my kids up from school. So I have so that way everything is happening at the same time.
Yeah.
And so I get my errands done, then I go pick up my kids, and then I bring the groceries back or whatever.
Limiting the amount of time that you're driving and having to leave your work area to go do something and then come back helps a lot.
Yeah.
I started doing something here. Like I said, when I moved to this house, I use Amazon Subscribe and Save. I don't know if it's cheaper or not, but I'll tell you why it works for me.
Yeah.
If I have to go to Walmart or Target or wherever it is you plan to shop, and drive over there and park and go inside, and then just because I'm going to go look for toilet paper for the house, I'll leave with a cart full of stuff that I didn't plan to buy, which will happen. And I have wasted 3 hours at least, because I'm talking about now a 30-minute drive, not 25, but a 30-minute drive and 30 minutes back. And then however long I am in the store.
Yeah.
For toilet paper and a cart full of stuff that I didn't mean to buy. So I do the subscribe and save, and the stuff comes to here. So I don't even have to think, do we have toilet paper this month? No, I have toilet paper delivered. And it comes in a big, I bundle it up. So I get some sort of discount. I don't know. I'm not advertising at Amazon. I'm just.
How do you know? The reason I've never done this is how do you know how much you need, how often?
you can play around with that. You see
Okay.
how often it's like when you set it up, it tells you, do you want to receive this every 3 months? Do you want to receive it every 4 months? So you check how often do you need toilet paper. For example,
Mhm.
when I have my parents living here, because they live between, Florida and here, the time they're here, I go ahead and get more toilet paper and more soap for the dishwasher and for the laundry soap.
Oh, yeah.
So I can play around with that, with how often I want it, or the quantity. Maybe instead of 1 pack of toilet paper, I get 2 packs. And honestly, I have noticed it's not any more expensive than me going all the way to the store to buy
Oh,
that.
yeah. No, you're saving gas, and
I'm saving on putting stuff in my cart that I don't
yes,
want.
you're saving on buying extras.
Yes, because
Yeah.
I'm not looking at anything, and then that's one thing. It gets delivered. I put it
Mhm.
away. I'm done. So at least I never have to hear, we're out of toilet paper. There's always toilet paper. And it's in the basement. Go get
Mhm.
some from there.
And that's one less
toilet paper.
thing that
Yeah.
you're thinking about.
That's the basics that my household needs. Toilet paper, toothpaste, paper towels, those, antibacterial wipes, things that you are always out of, that your
Yeah.
house is always needing. Okay, so that the basic is done. All I have to worry about is grocery shopping, and then I do that once a month. There's
Mhm.
my grocery shopping for the month, and like I said, I freeze milk. So cut corners where you can, in a smart way that works for you. You have to
Yeah.
just figure it out. A lot of time is wasted in the running around trying to put out one
Mhm.
fire at a time. Put out a
Yeah.
bunch of fires at once, and then it works.
Yeah. I really don't want to go get milk today because I was planning on going grocery shopping tomorrow. So now I'm like, should I just not get milk?
Can the family survive one
Yeah.
day without milk? I think they can.
I think so.
I always have powder milk here.
Oh,
And
yeah.
there's been times that I'm like, you know what? We're having powder milk today because tomorrow I'll defrost the other milk that I forgot to defrost. And all I do is leave it in the sink overnight covered. And the next day I put it in the fridge already with it still icy in the middle. And we kind of like it like that.
It's nice and cold.
It is. So when family, you put this note here that I love. It says, when
Mhm.
family needs you, work can wait. And when work needs you, family can wait. Within
Yeah.
reason, of course, emergencies
Yeah.
happen always. But I like that you said that. Sometimes something has to bubble to the surface, and that has to be handled in that moment. I'm going to reach over for something here. I have this in my office. I have 2 teenagers.
Oh,
I keep a huge box of M&Ms.
good idea.
In my office, and I keep it right here on my desk. I try to stay away from it, but sometimes I do dip in. And my office has a thing that says like live, if I'm recording something or if I'm in a live Zoom or something like that. And then I switch it on the other side, it says available. Even though I'm working, they can come in anytime they need to discuss something. And you won't know how many times they come in to have M&Ms and just to have the chocolate, and they sit there. And then I'm just here for chocolate. I'm like, okay. And it ends up being this fantastic conversation that they needed to have, or something that we just needed to joke around. And this time, because sometimes when I go to them and I'm like, hey, how is everything? How was school? How are you?
Oh, that never
They don't want to
works.
talk. Exactly.
No.
So it's kind of like, I'm here when you want to see me, because, and sure enough, lure them in with chocolate. Oh, it works every time.
Yeah.
Love it.
Chocolate and sweets. Yeah. And I have my desk in the living room. So I'm always here. We
Yeah.
also have 2 computer desks for gaming in our living room. Our living room is packed. We're in a townhome. But this works for us because we our kids have desks in their rooms, but they like to game together, and we like to game with them. And so it kind of becomes a family activity. So that's why we keep it all in our main living space. But I did used to have my desk in our spare room downstairs. And eventually we outgrew that, and we needed the space for a bedroom. But I never liked it because I felt so isolated and no one would come down and see me.
And you're worried. Is
Um,
everything okay?
and
Everybody okay?
they were younger then. I would actually
Mm,
bring toys down for them so they would,
right.
I mean, not that young. They were still like third and fourth and first grade. And but we did have like a TV with like an Xbox down there, so they would game down there too. But I do like being in the room with them, or I like being near where everyone is and where everyone's hanging out. We always congregate here in our kitchen or in our living room, so I'm always available. So even if they're watching TV or they're doing something else, I can be here on my iPad working.
Like that.
I have a hard time drawing on my iPad on the couch. I don't know. I've tried it and I can't. I either I fall asleep. I can't. That's the other thing. I cannot sit on our couch and stay awake.
It's a comfy couch.
We got a new couch. I can handle, usually I'm okay through a movie, but if I try to do things on the couch, I'll get too relaxed and I'll fall asleep. So I also like having my office chair here so I can just sit in this and not fall asleep and work.
I stay in here in my studio all day in the morning when they're at school, the kids, or my husband's at work. But when they get here, like at night, if I'm gonna work some more, if the kids have already gone to play with their friends, so they're not gonna hang out with me. Nobody needs me at that moment. Nobody needs anything. My husband's watching TV. I'll go and I'll sit on the couch with the iPad and I'm working, but I'm next to him.
But you're there.
He's doing his own thing. Sometimes he's putting out a show. I don't really watch TV and not a huge fan of TV. So if it's theirs listening from time to time and I'll be like, who's that? What did they say? And he's like, but I'm just there, with him. But the couch, yeah, really bad for my back.
Yeah.
It's really, really hard to.
And that's why the iPad is so great. Cause
Yeah.
I brought it to appointments. I bring it in the car with me sometimes. I'm more careful about the car. Well, and now during COVID, we're hardly ever going anywhere. Everything is virtual. All of our appointments are on telehealth or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. But before, when we had to go places, I would usually bring my iPad, and I even bought a bigger purse so I could fit it in there and just carry it around.
I have it. Yesterday, my husband had an appointment. I had to drive him at the hospital in base. He had a procedure done, and I had the iPad with me while I was waiting in the waiting room because that's over an hour drive from here. When I took my kids to the dentist, they wouldn't let me in. They go in and you have to stay in the car. I have my iPad. It's just, it works. Handy. If you can draw, write. If you can write, catch up on your emails. Instead of playing, I don't know if Candy Crush is still a thing or not. Like, instead of playing a game, I mean, when you need to play a game to decompress, do so. But instead of just making that your go-to, if you want to try to find time to work, you do it in the between. You don't wait until life gets easier. You do it in between.
And
it is.
Instead of getting, 1 second, I don't want to fall off my chair again. Instead of getting a laptop, which I wanted, I already had the iPad. So I got the keyboard that goes with the iPad. So now I use when I go places, I use my iPad like a laptop, and I love this keyboard. It has a trackpad, it can type, and I can write on it. I can travel with it and draw on it. So it becomes, for me, better than a laptop because I can actually draw and write on it.
I'm looking for this little keyboard that I bought.
You bought one? Do you even use yours?
You know what? You see what I'm doing? I'm looking for it. I have no idea what it is. Not. I have used it a couple times. Is this virtual keyboard? Not virtual keyboard. It's like a Wi-Fi keyboard that it folds like this. You open it up and it works with your iPad. It was fantastic. I don't know where it is. It might be upstairs because that's something else I do.
Yeah.
I work at nights. I work in the morning when I can. If I have a lot of deadlines to meet and I have to put a few hours of work, I am really active at night. You have seen 3 in the morning. I am a night owl.
I see your Twitter posts at 3 a.m.
But I have to, I still have to wake up early to drop off the kids at school. Summers are
Mhm.
awesome. Summers are great because the schedule completely changes and I can get up at 9 or something like that. But I take the iPad at night, but I don't want to keep the light keeps my husband up sometimes. So I cover myself with I know this all sounds so ridiculous that we are doing this, but you want to know, you asked how we do it.
Yeah.
This is how we do it. I
We
have my
work under the bed covers in bed at night.
I do. I put a poncho that I have, and I get cold at night. So, and I put it over this side so the light doesn't reflect on him.
Mhm.
He's right next to me. I don't know. I am there.
Keeping him awake while you're working.
No, well, he doesn't mind, but he
Does
did say, "Hey, the light bugs me a little bit." I'm like, "Okay, got it." I go, "How is this?" He goes, "Perfect." And there we are. I don't put the TV on or anything, and I work until I can. There's some nights that I can't work, but some nights you just want to get it done, and you're
Mhm.
going and you're going, and well, you sacrifice some sleep here, but then catch up. Maybe you take a nap. So let go of these expectations of how things are supposed to work and just go with whatever your reality is and do the
Yeah.
best you can within that.
Yeah. I think there was there was a time where artists were expected to go to their studio and spend the day in the studio painting and
It's
and
romanticized.
yeah, and
That's not how it works.
I don't have studio space, and that's why I work traditionally. I've never had a lot of space in our homes, so that's why digital. I mean, that's why digital was such a great option for me. And yeah, I don't ever have blocks of time that are like 8-hour work days. It doesn't work like that. It's broken up into chunks during the day. I might be lucky if I get 4 hours or 3 hours at a time.
You can cut the next section off if you think it's completely inappropriate, but how many times have you gotten a text from me when I'm in the bathroom and I'm like, this is literally the only time I have to respond to your email. Yes, let's set up that meeting that day. This is a good time for me, Bloom.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
this is when I had the time.
No, it's
So
totally. No, I get it.
Real life is
Yeah.
not scripted and it's not like that. But the one thing I'll repeat, you become unhappy when you don't allow it to be fluid, when you're like, okay, no, but this is supposed to be this way, I'm supposed to get 8 hours, how am I going to get this done? You'll get it done in chunks when you can, and if it takes longer, it takes longer. And believe me, when you stop looking at this as your work and it becomes something you enjoy doing, you'll do it when you want to, when you can, you'll squeeze it in there, and it'll be you look forward to. I look forward to the time I can do that.
Yeah, it keeps me sane.
Yeah.
Or it's a good release for me. Yeah. And another thing we didn't talk about, like one thing I do, I try to make this is why I like podcasts so much. I like to be able to listen to something while I'm drawing, or while I'm folding laundry, while I'm doing dishes, while I'm cooking dinner. It annoys my kids, but they're not usually around. Like if I'm cooking dinner, suddenly everyone disappears. No one wants to help. No one's there.
Because they're afraid they're going to say, clean up, help me with this.
And so I just pop in my headphones and I'm listening to a podcast or a webinar, or, while I'm doing these things that have to get done. So I try to make every moment that I can a learning time. I'm listening to something that I need to improve on, or I'm interested in. And so you're multitasking and fitting every possible moment that you can fit in. But there are times that I don't do these things. I'm not saying I do it all the time.
Right.
But
Nothing is always.
No. And so that's the thing. All of this is very flexible. When you want to work this way, you can, or when you want, or when you're out on a walk, you can be listening to a podcast.
That's when I do it, when I try to squeeze a walk in, because I notice that we said a lot when you can't really paint as you're walking, but you can listen to.
Yeah. And it's hard to write because you could verbal, you could speak it. Yeah, you could do talk to text.
I'm going to tell you, the best writing I do is when I am taking a shower and when I'm cooking.
Yeah.
I am rewriting and writing it in my head and then
Yeah.
changing the story. And what would
Yeah.
be the story if it's told from
Same.
this point of view? And then what? And I'm chopping things and I'm cleaning and I'm vacuuming or whatever it is I am doing. And it's happening. And then when it comes together in my head, I get my phone. I write on my phone.
Yeah.
And I put it down, and then I see how many misspells it has once I have the chance to see it on the computer bigger.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, okay, I don't know what the
That's
heck
fine.
I was writing there, but obviously I kind of got the gist of it.
Yeah.
But a lot of it happens when you're doing something else.
Yeah. And I think it's because your brain is not thinking about it directly. It always happens for me when I'm doing an activity that I don't need to concentrate on. I don't need to think about this. I know how to wash dishes. I know how to vacuum. So my brain just starts to wander, and especially in the shower, that's the best place for me.
I want to say it's also happen when I'm driving.
Oh,
well, when you get in the zone that you already know the road and you're just
repetitive tasks.
Right.
Yeah.
Then your mind just wanders. And
okay, I'll do you one better. Not me, but my grandmother was a writer. I used to sit with her a lot while we would go on trips. She was a travel writer. She used to edit while she was driving.
Oh, wow. Oh, no, I need to be a little more present to be able to.
And I was a kid. I didn't know, but she would read while she was driving. And now looking back, I'm like, what? Thank goodness she didn't have a cell phone. Thank goodness she didn't have a different distraction. But back then too, you would have to hold a road map while you're driving. So I think for her, she was like, well, I can multitask. We never had an accident. She was a wonderful driver.
Okay. We are not saying you should do this.
No, but I'm just saying, I think it was the same thing, it's a boring thing that you don't have to focus on, so your brain can think about other things.
It works better actually when you react, when you say, when your hands are doing something that is used to doing, your brain can go a little further than what it usually does. And now with all this technology, it's so much easier. We have the Alexa Dot. We didn't buy it. We got that for free because we did something with the cars.
We got one too now. And
I use mine.
I hear yours all the time.
All the time. It's giving me reminders for somebody needs their medicine, or it gives me reminders to go pick up my kids, or go pick up. Remind me to call my mother because I have to check on her or something. It reminds me all the time. If the bird is going to learn to talk, it's going to learn to say whatever Alexa's saying, for sure. So, look,
she's your assistant.
She turned on right now when I said it.
It's your assistant.
It is. So I'm going to bring this up because 2 days ago I was editing a story, and someday we have to do an episode about writing, because I never thought I could write books. Never. Come on, I can hardly speak correctly. How could you please tell me that I can write? So this will be an episode for people that want to do it and they don't know how to get started. They're afraid to get started because it just seems so overwhelming. But oh my gosh, I love the editing part of it, where it seems to be so I got into, the story because I sent it to you first. And I was so into it. And I guess at night, I usually check all my alarms for the night before. I set up all my alarms for the next day, where I'm supposed to be, where. I don't know why I did not put the alarm to pick up the kids from the bus stop.
Oh.
And I know I have this thing that tells me when they have left one place. So it goes plum plum. So I know I have 2 plum plums before my alarm goes off. I have that. And I'm here. Okay, I'm almost done. And blah. And I'm really in the zone. Plum 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 plum. And the third did not go. The alarm did not go off. Oh. Then I get a phone call from my daughter. Thank God they're teenagers and they can just walk up the hill, but it's kind of a mile just, and her backpack is heavy. And she's like,
yeah,
did you forget something today? And then she's like, and I'm like, what time is it? She goes, did you forget to pick up your children? I'm like, oh my gosh. And I ran down to go get them. It's right, it's a mile walk up, but and
it's hard. Yeah.
But I always pick them up. So now I told Alexa to remind me every day.
Yeah.
I go, hey, just in case my alarm did not go off.
Yeah. You
I
got
have a
that?
second. Yeah. So use what you can
Yeah.
for those little reminders.
Those are
It helps.
tools. Those are your tools that help you stay on track.
Yeah.
I've been missing appointments because we've had a lot going on. So I
Yeah.
started setting appointment reminders. So now when I enter the appointment in my calendar, I have a 30-minute reminder and a 15-minute reminder for each appointment, because it got so bad last week because we had a lot going on that I entered the right time on my calendar. It reminded me 30 minutes before, but for some reason in my head, I still said 4 o'clock when it was 3:20. And I'm like, what? Why? So now I'm like, okay, this tells me I need to have more than one reminder, because obviously my brain is not is lying to me.
Yeah. And there's with all of this that we have said, there is this, and it's like a culture thing, and it's that oh, if you're busy, you're important, and this is what we're doing to try to get the work in between life. Everybody has this. Everybody has life that just happens.
Mhm.
Also take some time that if things didn't get done, they didn't get done. And take a moment to like, okay, when you get to that point that you're like, okay, things are not going in anymore, something's got to give.
Yeah.
You can't keep carrying everything. Like a juggler, a ball is going to fall. If it falls, it's not the end of the world.
True.
Get it all together, reschedule that
Yeah.
appointment in your case, or
Yeah.
fix it up when you can and try again and but be
Yeah.
gentle with yourself, because you cannot do it all and something will go wrong. And
Yeah.
it's okay. It's okay if things go wrong
Mhm.
sometimes.
For me, that's usually a reminder, like to reflect on, okay, why am I this busy? It's usually not because of typical standard things. It's something, something like for us, our car broke down. So we have one car that we're having to juggle between 3 driving adults.
So you had
that's
to drive
difficult.
everybody
So
around and
usually
talk with
I'm the
them.
one driving everyone around. And that interferes with time for me to do other things. And then we're also having to look for a car during a pandemic when there are no cars available. So that's challenging. So yeah, usually it makes me have to reevaluate, okay, what is going on? How long will this last? If it's going to last a while, I need to cut back on other things in my life.
Right.
Either make sure I plan better, or just this thing that I thought would take a week, it's probably going to take 2 or 3 weeks. I just have to reevaluate.
Right.
Be flexible.
Most of the deadlines are deadlines, but if you're in an emergency, they can be adjusted.
Yeah.
So these deadlines that I put on myself, for example, for this the finals for the book, I have to remind myself that life will get in the way. So it has to be flexible, that I didn't get this done by the time. Don't add to your panic. You hear the bird in the background.
That's fine.
Sorry.
He's agreeing with you.
I can't wait for him to learn to talk.
Oh, then he's in a Vita. Yeah. Oh, he'll appear on our podcast.
Yeah. Okay. We can teach him to say Illo chat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Be gentle with yourself.
Yes.
And to me, having you as a friend has been amazing. Amazing to just don't get old sappy. I'm going to cry. I don't do that, but
yeah. No.
When things bubble up, having
Yeah.
a quick, I wouldn't even talk on the phone. Just having a quick moment to say, all of this is happening and things are bubbling up, and just someone to hear you, it just helps to simmer it down again and go, okay. And laugh about it sometimes.
Totally.
Sometimes we're like, we come with some serious things and you make me laugh, and it's just, that's what I needed. Just honestly, I just needed to laugh about it. And
you just need to vent. Yeah. So if you need someone like that, because venting to your family doesn't work well.
No, because sometimes it's
they're in it.
Yeah. So no, you want to be able to have a friend that you can be real with. And that's pretty much what we do on the podcast. Hey, we are normal, real people. This is how it is.
Yeah.
And find someone that you can be real with, that you can be like, okay, I got this. And maybe that person can help you figure it out for you too. Sometimes you put so much on your plate that you're like, someone can say, you don't need to do that, or
Mhm.
you can take that off, or can I help you with it? That
Yeah.
works too. So that's all we have for these
Yeah.
questions. We really,
I
wow.
think Loki is telling us we're done.
I think we're done. Yes.
He's like, it's time to turn
He's
off.
like, where is my cracker? Give me a cracker.
Oh yeah, he ate through the last one.
Oh, he's super cute.
Yeah.
Well, let's wrap it up then, because I really liked. I hope we do this again. Pick up some questions that we keep getting and just answering them all
That
in
was
one.
fun. That was fun. We didn't have to like do as much research either.
It was more chit chat. Next episode, we are going to discuss agents and how to get one,
Yes.
and that will be a really good episode.
Yeah, I think that would be really beneficial, and it's something we have some experience with, but it's just the whole process of agents, trying to find an agent and how to find them and what you're looking for is there's a lot of information there.
Yeah. And then it might happen in a complete different way.
Yes.
As we'll discuss in the episode.
Yeah. You can, that's the other thing. You can plan and research and try to figure things out. And then none of that matters sometimes.
Is it a John Lennon song that said that, I think it's oh my goodness, is it Pretty Boy or something by Boy? I can't remember, but it says life is what happens to you when you're busy making other plans.
That's true.
It's so true.
Yeah, that's our quote.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, let's wrap it up.
Yeah, great. Yeah, well, thanks for joining us for this episode. We hope you enjoyed it and you hope you found something useful in here. You can find us on YouTube, where you get to see Loki, our mascot bird. And you can find us on all podcast platforms. And we
look forward to the next one.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
See you.